tuning in. My name is Miriam, and we are on Entre today, the #1 fastest growing Web3 professional network and the new way to work. Here on Entre, we combine social like LinkedIn, marketplace like Upwork, and communication like Slack. Our goal is to enable anyone from around the world to easily connect and work with people and the resources they need to succeed. So chime in with your questions in the chat, raise your hand if you want to join us on stage. I'm super excited to be chatting with Aprilynne Alter. That's how the correct pronunciation of your last name, right?
Yes.
Perfect. She is the founder of Tenderfoot, a platform to connect students with internships at startups, which is something I know a lot of you will be interested in. We'll drop the link to that. And she's also a full-time content creator with a following on Twitter of over 10K and a newly launched YouTube channel. How are you today, Aprilynne?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited. I mean, I think we met like 6 months ago.
It was a while ago, yeah.
It was a while ago, and I was like, will you come and talk about creating content with my community? You were just starting your YouTube at that time, and we'll talk a little bit about it later, but I checked it out before this event. Crazy growth, girl. Like, go. I'm just so living for you right now. When I saw that, I was pumped. I started getting on Instagram and like posting stories and stuff. Like, so you must be just feeling really good. Tell me you're feeling really good.
Yeah, no, it's actually kind of wild. I don't when we last chatted, was I doing like NFT content at that point, or was it more like Twitter content?
You were doing Twitter content.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, so I completely changed niches. One video that I did about NFTs completely blew up, and I decided to lean into it. It's interesting now because after creating content about NFTs for a while, I'm getting to the point where I'm realizing I don't love this niche as much as I thought I would. And so I'm thinking about, okay, what's next? What do I do next? And that's kind of like a little existential crisis as a creator. It's like, oh, if the majority of my income is coming from YouTube right now, and I no longer want to be in the niche that I'm in, how do you start to like gradually get yourself off of that without really just like cutting your leg off in terms of income?
Totally. Well, we're going to get into the niche. I want to talk to you about the niche, being new content creator on TikTok and everyone telling me I need to do that. So we'll jump in. I wanted to ask you, how do you identify? Like, when people are like, oh, what do you do? Like, put you in your little box. Are you a content creator? Are you a founder? Because you're doing multiple things.
Yeah, I'd say right now, I say I'm a full-time creator. That's like much broader because I do create content, and that is where the majority of my income does come from, but I also create startups, and I create conversations, and I create so much more other than just content. So I do say I'm a full-time creator. When they dig a little bit deeper, I mentioned YouTube because that is where the majority of my income is coming from. So that kind of like, okay, I do this. But it's interesting because when you are a creator, there's like, as you said, there's not really one box that you fit in. There's a zillion different things that are going on that you're trying to keep together.
Yeah, totally. I love that. And happy International Women's Day to you and to all the women out there. We're celebrating you. Any important women in your life that you want to shout out?
The biggest one, I mean, and this is, I guess, cliche, but is my mother. I feel like it's interesting with most, I guess, creators, and I guess coming from a semi-Asian background, moving towards a non-traditional life, away from finance and banking, which is where my background was in, it was pretty darn scary. And I think having the support of her being able to move and make that transition a lot easier made me able to actually take that jump. And I feel like there are a lot of students out there, or young people out there, or people in general who are stuck in jobs that they don't really like doing, and having a support system behind them to like help make that jump easier is huge. So yeah, I owe a lot of that courage to her.
I love that, definitely. And I'm sure, are there interviews out there that you've done where you kind of dive deeper into that? Because when you mentioned that, I'm like, oh, well, we could just take this interview in a whole nother direction. Like, I want to hear all about that. But I'm sure that maybe you've shared a video about it, or are you talking about that somewhere else online?
Interesting. I haven't gone that deeply into it. I do have a Twitter thread somewhere about my decision to quit my full-time job. So I reveal a little bit in that. I do have a YouTube video. My very first YouTube video that I ever put up was actually about why I quit my job as a financial analyst to become a full-time founder or something along those lines. So I get into some of the more logic side of things there, but not really the touchy-feely stuff as much.
Yeah. Oh, we'll have to have you back to talk about that. I'm going to drop into the room chat the link to Aprilynne's YouTube, so you guys can check that out later. And say hello. Hi, Caleb, Janine, great to see you. Esprit, Keith, thanks so much. Love having you tuning in. Sean, awesome. Caleb here. Sean is a community manager here at Entre, so it's great to see you. And hope you're having a great day. Great. Thanks so much, everybody. We're just getting into this conversation with Aprilynne Alter, founder of Tenderfoot, a platform to connect students with internships at startups. And we're talking about content creation. She is really big on Twitter and also a highly anticipated YouTube channel launched and is doing amazing. I want to talk a little bit about best practices for engagement. Can we start with Twitter? What are some of your best practices for engagement on Twitter?
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually do have like a full-on PowerPoint if you want me to share that when it goes to kind of my playbook, I guess, for Twitter, if you're interested.
That would be great. We would love to have that. I'm just speaking for everyone in the group. Personally, for myself and I think others, we can share it here on Entre in the feed, and they would, I'm sure we would love that. So this is some sort of a playbook that you put together.
Yeah, I mean, it's more just like a small PowerPoint for a presentation. We don't have to go through. I can just verbalize it if you want.
You can share it here with. Oh,
yeah,
let's share it here. Yeah, share your
Perfect.
screen. Perfect.
Okay, let me figure out how to do that. Start share.
On the bottom.
Window. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, can you see this?
Yes. Oh my God, yay.
Awesome. Well, I won't be able to read chat while I'm doing this because I just have one. Let's see if I.
I'll read off. I'll keep an eye on it. In the
Boom.
chat.
Done. Ta-da. I'm just I don't want full screen. It's okay. We can do it not full screen.
Okay.
But hello. So basically, I started using Twitter 12 months ago. About a year now. I had no social media experience whatsoever. Nothing. Zero. I was pretty anti-social media for my age. But at that time, I was determined to get some attention. I was starting to build out Tenderfoot, my current startup, and a lot of friends had told me you should create an audience on Twitter. There are other people there who might want to help you. So I thought, okay, might as well do it. I was able to get my first 1,000 followers within a month, and now I have over 12K on Twitter. Just some things. Twitter gave me guest appearances on podcasts and courses and live streams. Over 2,000 signups for my startup's beta. Got some art commissions and a freelancing contract I had no idea I even wanted to do before Twitter, and as well as a head start on my YouTube and Twitch audiences. This is my handle if you're interested, but this is kind of reasons for why building an audience on Twitter is so important. When it comes to the measure of success on Twitter, people always think that it's followers, right? The more followers you have, the more successful on Twitter you are, right? Not exactly. A better measure of success is people wanting to hear what you have to say. If you have 10,000 followers, but no one cares about you or what you have to say, that's not nearly as valuable as an audience of 100 people who really do care about you and what you have to say. So you really want two things to be happening. You want people to be getting something from you. You want to be able to provide value to others, and you want people to be able to get to know you, care about you as a person. This is hard to measure. Engagement metrics are a good proxy, but it's not perfect. I would share some of my analytics, but I don't want to mess with the sharing too much just in case I mess things up. But basically in your Twitter analytics, you can see your engagement rate, which is just the number of clicks, likes, retweets, profile clicks, all of the other things of engagements with your tweets divided by the number of impressions, so the number of times people saw your tweet. That's an okay metric of success. The higher your engagement rate, the better, but it's not perfect. So when it comes to kind of what it takes to be successful on Twitter, there's a little funnel. First, people need to be able to find your profile. Once they find your profile, then they're going to kind of hover over it, and your bio and your profile picture show up. They're going to read your bio. If they like their bio, they're going to click on you and start to scroll through your timeline. If they like what they see, then they'll follow you. Then they have to decide to not unfollow you. They need to consistently be able to get value from you and get to know you. And that's how you know that you have like a true fan on Twitter, which is what we're trying to get on Twitter. So how do we get there, right? So first, it's in terms of making people find you. You have to go to where the people are. So I get a lot of questions from a lot of people often saying like, oh, like I'm tweeting on Twitter, I'm out there a lot, but no one cares. Like I'm tweeting out into the void, no one's listening. What do I do? And I like to compare it to a party. So let's say you go to a party and there are like lots of people around the middle of the room and they're dancing and they're jiving, they're talking, they're having a good time. If you walk into an empty corner of the room and face the corner of the room, start talking at that corner of the room, of course no one's going to hear you, right? There's nobody there. You have to go to where the people are, start talking to them in the center of the room, and maybe one or two people will follow you back to your corner, so you can have more conversations there. It's the same thing on social media. It's the same thing on Twitter. So general strategy for first making people find you is to go where the people are, to find influencers in your niche. Look for people between 2,000 to maybe 20,000 followers on Twitter. Make sure that their engagement rate is high. Look for active comments and replies on a lot of their tweets, just to know that there's like an active community there. And turn on their tweet notifications. When they tweet something, be the first to add value or one of the first people to add value to the reply of that tweet. It's a good way of being able to get your name out there and to show other people that you exist, and also reply to other people who also reply to their tweets. In your replies, make sure you're trying to promote your own credibility. So don't just like tweet things like, oh, wow, this is a great take, or thanks so much, or other things like that. Those are kind of empty words. Try to add value, and it's okay if you can't. You don't have to reply to everything. Reply to things that you feel like you can add value on. Promote your own credibility. It's like, why are you, like if there is a tweet about internships, for instance, I feel like I can lend a pretty solid opinion based off of all that I'm doing with Tenderfoot and connecting students with internships with startups and other non-traditional opportunities. So promote your credibility if you can, and try to weave in a call to action, not too sales pitchy, but make it clear that if someone goes to your profile, you'll be able to talk more about this thing and that you tend to share more opinions and ideas about a certain topic. So once you've done that, at this point, people are able to find your profile, right? You're getting your name out there, you're replying, you're showing up in the replies of influencers in your niche, and people are being able to discover and say, hey, like this person has some pretty good ideas. Next, they're going to read your bio. So let's talk about bios. Bios are huge. I'd say bios are one of the highest leverage places on your Twitter profile to be able to pour energy into, but a lot of people do bios wrong. So let's talk about bios. What people should get from your bio is a reason to follow you. That's it. After reading their bio, they should know, why should I follow you? So don't make it a resume. There are a lot of people who like list, oh, I was a founder at this, and before that I did this. I'm ex-Google, ex-Facebook, ex all of this. You don't need to make it a resume. This isn't LinkedIn. This is Twitter. Don't just like interest lists. Or lots of people who's like, oh, like I love Frisbee. I love chess. I love cheerleading. Like I love all of these things. Again, you're not really giving people a reason to follow you. Don't use hashtags, excessive hashtags in your bios. It tends to look really spammy, and as humans at this point, we're trained to skip over hashtags. We just see the blue and our minds just like run over it. You only have a limited number of characters in your Twitter bio, so if people are not reading half of it because they're hashtagged, that's rough. Don't overuse emojis kind of for the same reason. It tends to look a little bit spammy. Don't self-promote in your bio. There's plenty of room to do that in your pinned tweet or in other tweets that you have along the way, but don't use your bio to do that. And don't use fillers. Your filler words are things like retweets are not endorsements, or opinions are all my own. I see those phrases a lot, and again, you only have a limited amount of space in your Twitter bio. Don't waste the space saying these things that don't really add any value. So this next part is a little interactive. We'll see if we get interaction from chat. Basically, going to give you an example and let me know, what do you think is wrong out of the list of things? What is wrong with this, with these bios?
Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to interact.
Wonderful.
And I'm just like, I was looking at my Twitter. I'm like, okay, I need to change my bio. I'm learning so much. This is so great. Like a little mini masterclass. Okay, so first one.
Yeah,
Connector,
Caleb
community.
says feels like LinkedIn bios. And yeah, that's exactly what this is. This is a resume bio, right? All of these are like, oh, I'm a connector, I'm a community builder at this, writing at this, started this, right? Software engineer at this, previously co-founded this, intern at this. I am a relationship coach and expert. I'm an author, I'm a publisher, I'm a ghostwriter, right? All of these are resume bios. When you read this, you don't feel like, oh, I really need to follow this person. It's a great reason why. There's nothing, it's not audience oriented. Your bio should be audience oriented, should be talking to your audience. Why should someone follow you? This is a resume bio. What about this one? Something I would totally do. Well, yeah.
Caleb's like really good at this.
People do this on Clubhouse.
Interested in building products, listening. Oh, promoting. They're promoting.
Promoting. Yes, exactly. Great job.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's like you shouldn't promote yourself directly in your bio. That's like a turn off right from the very beginning. Perfect.
Yeah.
Next one. Boom.
All right. I think I got this. I got the hang of this game now. Too many hashtags.
Too many hashtags. Perfect. Yep. There are just a lot of hashtags here, and I don't know if you can feel yourself just skipping over this. When I look at this first one, I read marketing, and then I read opinions are my own. Also, opinions are my own. We don't love that too, but I just automatically just skipped right over the blue. So that's precious space that you're wasting. What about this one?
Too many emojis. It's an overload.
Yep. It's a lot. It's a lot of emojis. A lot of emojis.
It's aggressive.
And what about this one?
Wow.
This one's a little trickier because I feel like
it's not easy on the eyes for sure.
Yeah, well, these are very types of common bios.
I mean, they're putting a lot in there.
Yeah, so this is interest listing. And so if you look at it, you can see, okay, I'm a learner, I'm responsible. Tweet about books I read, that's kind of valuable, but like crypto enthusiast, musician, grade 5 Trinity Guildhall, London, electronic keyboard, like why does this matter, right? Technology, media, travel, and hospitality enthusiast. Why does this matter? You're just listing things about yourself. Are you tweeting about these things? Are these just interests that you have? This one and the resume lister are the two most common types of bio mistakes. So keep an eye out for that one. Last mistake example. I have them underlined for you.
Right. Those things. The retweet endorsement. Retweet does not equal endorsement. Views my own is a no. We don't want to do that.
Yep, these are just filler phrases. So they're not really adding anything to your bio and they're just wasting space. So if these are all things to not do with your bios, what should you do? Look, we have some effective Twitter bios. Do describe what you tweet about, right? Like, why should someone follow you? Because you tweet about things that they're interested in. So describe what that is. Weave in credibility. Don't make it a full resume, but give a reason why someone should believe you, and add some personality. So one is like tweets about buyer personas, content strategies, and usually has a typo. Follow to be friends. Founder, bestbuyerpersona.com. So you immediately see, oh, if I follow this person, I get tweets about these things. Usually has a typo that's funny. I know that this person is somewhat humorous, and there's some credibility there. Founder, best buyer persona. Okay, this person knows what they're talking about. They're a founder. Next, left a high-paid software job to Bootstrap Logology.co with my wife. My father-in-law doesn't approve. Tweets and memes about the startup journey.
So
and you immediately know, right? It's so great. It's like, okay, this person's funny. There's some personality. I know if I follow, then I'll get tweets and memes about the startup journey. I know what to expect.
I know whose Twitter bio that is too, and his tweets are fire.
Yep, he's so great. He's so great. The last one, helping creators find their uniqueness, build an online audience, and grow a strong personal brand. Need help, schedule a call. don't love this part because it is kind of pitchy, sales pitchy, but it's not super sales pitchy. This first sentence is very, very strong. So good Twitter bio. So at this point, someone has found your profile through your replies, they've scrolled over your avatar, and they've read your bio. They've decided to like your bio. They like your bio because you didn't make any of those previous mistakes. They know what they're getting into. At this point, they're going to click on you and they're going to scroll through your timeline. Now this gets into how to tweet. There are exactly two types of tweets that exist. There are giving tweets and there are asking tweets. Giving means that they stop scrolling in your tweet, they read it, and they don't regret it. They read it and they're like, okay, I got some value from this. This is good. Asking is anything that benefits you directly. So if you're asking a question and maybe you're posing a poll, you're saying visit my product, you're saying buy my ebook, you're saying, hey, come to my talk, things like that. Those are all asking tweets. You want your feed to be 90% giving and 10% asking. Just give as much as you can. Really try to minimize retweets unless you're adding clear value or unless you want your Twitter account to be a curation account. So where all you do is just retweet other people. When people follow you, they want to follow you for you. So minimize direct retweets unless you're quote retweeting with something of value. Here are just some examples of low engagement versus high engagement Twitter accounts. You can look them up on Twitter. These people, they have humongous Twitter followings, but they're only getting like 5 likes, 10 likes on their stuff, which is ridiculous. Versus other people have maybe like 100,000 followers, but their likes and engagements are super, super high. And you can see the difference is that these people, the low engagement accounts with millions of followers on Twitter, yeah, very low engagement, all they're really doing is just asking. Almost every single tweet that they have are asking tweets. These people, including myself, although my Twitter game has not been great recently, but Daniel Fasala and Ali Abdal, most all of their tweets are giving tweets. They're not asking for anything. So those are just some examples.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to Twitter's preferred format of content, this is all about the Twitter thread, right? Every single social media platform has their preferred format. You have YouTube has shorts, Instagram has reels, and Twitter has threads. When it comes to writing threads, the first tweet, the hook, is everything. Use a short first sentence. Try to keep it to 5 words. If not, that's okay. Try to keep it to 1 line. Don't, I have to sneeze, 1 second.
Okay.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thanks. People don't like to read on to the second line in a hook. So try to keep it, if not 5 words, at least to 1 line. Use numbers. Name drop if you can, and value prop. So make sure you have your value prop in this first tweet, which is the hook, the first tweet of your thread. Give a clear reason for if you open this thread, then you will get this out of it. So this is an example from Alex Garcia. There's a very short attention grabber here. Referral programs work. He has specific numbers. He is using big recognizable names like Dropbox, Airbnb, Elon Musk. And then I know it's kind of covered, but it says, here are 6 referral programs you should steal. And so you immediately have a value prop of, if I read this, I'm going to learn about 6 referral programs that I might want to steal for my own thing. And as you can see from these numbers, super effective thread. Use visuals within your thread as well. It keeps things dynamic. When you're scrolling through a thread and it's just all text, it's really rough to handle. So use visuals, or if you don't want to spend time making visuals, use emojis. Having at least 1 emoji per tweet or per 2 tweets within a thread keeps the mind more engaged as you go through it. Add a CTA, so a call to action at some point telling to follow you for more or something along those lines, but don't make that CTA the very last tweet of the thread. Because when a thread shows up on someone's profile, they're going to see the first one and they're going to see the last one. That last space should be like a TLDR or like a summary of what they get if they open, right? Both of those are free real estate basically that shows up on the impression, and you should use that space to convince someone to open the thread. Your CTA should be the second to last tweet of your thread so that it doesn't show up in that initially. Whew. So at this point, Oh, thank you. I'm glad this is helpful. So at this point, someone has saw a reply that you made, they found your profile, they hovered over you, they read their bio, they think, oh, this is a pretty cool person. They click on you, they scroll your timeline, they see some cool tweets of yours, they see some cool threads of yours, and they decide to follow you. Now you have to make sure that they don't unfollow you. So here are things to not do. Don't buy followers, it's never worth it. Don't follow for follow, also not worth it. You don't get the right type of followers. Don't tag a bunch of people hoping that they'll notice you. That happens. Sometimes people want to get attention, so they'll just like tag a bunch of people. Don't do that. It can get really annoying and people might block you or mute you. Don't be a nuisance overall. Don't be a jerk. Don't chase after retweets. It's okay to have call to actions, but there's a big difference between call to action in a thread versus like begging people to retweet your stuff. Don't get banned, because once you lose your account, it's really difficult to get it back. And this is kind of different from all the other ones, but don't start a tweet with @ just as a general rule. Twitter takes that as, oh, this is a mention. So they won't actually blow that tweet out to all of your followers. They'll treat it as a reply. So if you want a tweet to be seen by your followers, don't start it with an @ weave the @ into it. So don't say like, at Aprilynne Alter, such a great speaker. Say, I really enjoyed this talk with at Aprilynne Alter. Something like that.
I love that. There's a question about the thread slide that you had. Would that be something that you pin to the top of your profile?
The thread, you could. Okay, so it's probably great. I'll just say I will get to that. Just the rest is up to you in terms of the get value from you and get to know you. This really depends on the type of quality that you are tweeting and tweeting consistently. Just wanted to go to the Q&A because it's a great part to answer this question. When it comes to pinned tweet, what to look for in your pinned tweet? It's your pinned tweet as a part of your profile. So this works together with your banner, with your profile picture, with your bio. I've seen different strategies for different pinned tweets. In general, it's a great way to add credibility or to put a sales pitch if you'd like. So those are kind of like the two main things that I see it for. The add credibility side tends to be the best use of it, which if you have a very useful thread or if you have a tweet that is blown up or something that shows a lot of engagement, that's a great thing to pin because people will scroll through it, they'll see it and like, oh, this person gets engagement. They seem to be legitimate. I can follow them. Or you can use it as like if you have like a product hunt launch or something, or if you've announced the launch of a website or your startup or something else that's got engagement, that's a great way to put it there so that as soon as someone goes onto your profile, they can see that and maybe like link out to whatever it is that you're promoting.
I love this. Okay, so I was thinking, like, what if you tweet about a bunch of stuff? Like, what if you really haven't found your niche? I'm kind of new to Twitter myself, like really using it. And I just feel like I tweet about everything. So how does that, what do I do? This is what I was thinking, and I want to get your opinion. For my bio, if I say, when people ask me what I do, I tell them whatever I want.
For a bio?
Yeah. And then maybe put in an
So
emoji.
the thing with that bio is that it gives some idea into your personality, but it doesn't really give a person a reason to follow you. So kind of like what is the value prop for your Twitter account? Why should somebody follow you?
I really don't know. That's such a tough question. I got to think about that because now that you're putting it to me, I'm like, why should someone follow me? Like, just because I'm hoping because they like me, you know, but that's not enough. Damn, it's hard.
Right.
Twitter
I mean,
is hard.
Yeah, and it does depend on, you know, what you want to use your Twitter account for. You don't have to use it for audience building. There are people who just use their Twitter accounts just to engage with other people, not necessarily to build their own audience. That's okay. I would recommend trying to build an audience on Twitter just because I've known how much value it has given me in my life. But it's okay if you're like, you know what, this whole social media thing isn't for me. I don't want a big audience. These are more tips for people like who do want to build an audience.
I do. So I guess I gotta do the work. Oh my gosh. Wow. All right. I'm gonna try it out. Maybe this summer. We'll put it on the agenda. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna do Aprilynne's methodology, and then I'm gonna test, see how it goes, like see, you know, like do one of those things where I'm like building in public or whatever.
Right.
And
Exactly.
I think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna go great. If anybody wants to do it with me, just hit me up. We'll make a whole thing. We got some more questions coming in the chat. Can you monetize a large Twitter account directly?
That's a great question. Theoretically, yes. In practicality, it's really difficult. I'll give you kind of the reason why I say this. In terms of monetizing large Twitter accounts, kind of the ways in which you can monetize directly are through sponsored tweets, and kind of through like affiliate links. Affiliate links tend to be really like work well if you have a larger audience because the number of people who click on your links will be larger, so you actually get some money from that. And sponsored tweets are also a thing depending on the niche that you're in. But when you start to post affiliate links to things and start to promote other products and start to accept sponsored posts, then people will not like your Twitter account as much. People will unfollow. They don't follow to see this, right? They're following to see value. And so I would actually recommend against doing that. I don't accept any sponsored posts. I don't do any of that because I know that that's not what people want to follow me for. And I feel like I'm just being disingenuous to myself and to my audience if I do so. One way that you can monetize large Twitter audiences is if you do have your own product. That's more an indirect way to monetize it. Because having a large audience is fantastic for marketing and for getting signups for your Startups Beta or for any other product that you yourself do. I say it's much better to create your own product or your own thing and use your Twitter account to market that versus accepting other products from other people who want to use your Twitter account to market that, if that makes sense. So the best way to monetize your Twitter audience is to make something else and use your Twitter account to showcase that something else, to drive traffic to that something else to make sales there.
Great advice. Love that. And then can you talk a little bit about how it's different from monetization on YouTube?
Monetization on YouTube is so much easier. That's
Nice.
why I'm able to make, the majority of my income does come through YouTube. YouTube has AdSense. Well, yeah, the two main ways to monetize your YouTube channel is YouTube AdSense and sponsorships. Even if I don't accept any sponsorships, I still make like $2,500 on average per month just from YouTube AdSense, just from Google AdSense. And that's just once your channel is monetized, so once you have 1,000 followers and 4,000 watch hours on your channel, I think it's 4,000 watch hours. Maybe, yeah. Okay. Then at this point, your channel is monetized. You just get like a nice email saying, hey, you've been invited to the partner program of YouTube. You accept, you basically just give them your information to set up with Google AdSense. And then all the ads that play on your video. So, the ad that comes in the very beginning, you can skip. And ones that come in the middle, you can also skip. Every single ad, you as a creator receive 55% of those ad revenue. And that just happens. So my video that I put out in November, that's still my most popular video. I'm still getting money from that every single day because more people keep watching that. And forever, as long as that is getting views, I will make money from that video. So it's really like every single videos of yours is monetized.
Perfect. I'm about to get it popping on YouTube. What video editing tools do you use on YouTube?
So I actually don't do my own editing anymore. I have outsourced that to editors. A lot of people actually wait too long before outsourcing to editors. But when I did edit my own videos, I used a free platform that no one has ever heard of called HitFilm Express. I loved it, but no other YouTuber that I've ever met has ever used it before. But it was free and it worked for me and it was great. Other ones I've heard that's also free is DaVinci Resolve. So those are kind of, I guess, the two free options, DaVinci Resolve and HitFilm Express. If you do want to go to the more pro, then the options there for Macs are Final Cut Pro, and for Windows is Premiere Pro.
Okay, so you went on Upwork or YouTube or Fiverr or something and found someone?
Actually, people found me. I had a couple. So I've gone through a couple of different editors to try to find a good one. And that's like a whole other conversation about like what to look for in an editor. The editor that I ended up using now for the most part was a referral to me from another YouTuber friend of mine. So I use the editor that he used to use. I actually have two editors, one for kind of like my main content and one for my more community styles, like vlog type of content, Q&As and such. And that was another referral from a friend.
Amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
so loving this. Any other questions? Please pop them into the chat. I want to dive in briefly, if we can, if we have a few more minutes of your time, to talk about Tenderfoot. You know, what it is. You're also building a startup. I know that that's been something you've been working on for a while now. You're co-founder there. Tell us a little bit about how Tenderfoot came to be.
Yeah, so this, I'm going to take you back to March 2021, so almost exactly 1 year ago. I had just like finished up with another startup idea I had with a different friend, and I realized that that was not for me. And so I ended up abandoning that project. And me being me, I'm like, I can't just do nothing. I had a full-time job that was queued to start in early April. But I'm like, oh, I have all of March. I can't just do nothing. So let's build a different startup, right? Of course, as one does. And so I was coming from my, I guess, failure in the startup before that. I really realized that whatever I build, I have to be somewhat uniquely qualified to do this. Like there should be a reason why I am doing this thing, not just something that anyone could do and I choose to do it. And so I made like a full list of like, okay, these are the things that I like. These are the things that I feel like I know more about than the average person. Where are there intersections there? What that came up with is like, I like startups. I really enjoyed my experience interning at a startup before. I was a recent student, so I know what it's like for college students and grads. Can I connect those things together? And thus Tenderfoot was born. The original idea there was to connect students with internships at startups. And so many of my peers, and myself included, were interested in entrepreneurship, but there's like this pressure from your peers and for career advisors and from your professors and everyone else is like, go towards these traditional sectors, right? Go into finance, go into law, do all of these other things, go into big tech, because that's where the money is. And because as a school, as well, like as an institution, the school does better if most of their graduates go into FANG, right? It's just kind of how things are. Parents as well, exactly, Caleb, right? There's like a lot of pressure there. And for me, one internship completely changed my life. And that was an internship with a startup, a venture-backed startup, Series A funded startup based in Silicon Valley. And I was the 13th hire there. And everything changed from that experience. I did actually end up going to a bank post-graduation, but that was more because of COVID happening and I wasn't really sure how the world would look like. And so it made more sense for myself, just like, okay, go somewhere safe, at least for a little bit, at least until kind of have a better sense of like what the climate is up to, before I eventually decided to quit that and do my own thing. And I figured that it's a difficult ask to ask people to just hop straight into startups post-graduation because they've been doing all these things. There's a lot of pressure directly post-graduation. But what if we can introduce them to that sooner, which internships. Internships are a pretty low risk way to try out new things and get more work experience without the idea of like jeopardizing your entire future if it doesn't work out. And so that's kind of what we're targeting is, hey, can we get more people to experience startups when they're a little bit younger, when they have that time, when it's relatively low risk, to open them up to the world of, hey, you know what, you don't have to work at a bank, you don't have to work at Google, at Facebook, at Apple in order to do something great, in order to be something great. So that's kind of where the idea of Tenderfoot was born. Worked like within a month, had a landing page. I was working with another friend of mine at that point, who agreed to help me out with some of the more technical aspect of it. So released like a bare minimum landing page, which is what we still have right now, which is that. And so we released that back in March as well, and had a basic sign up form for interest. And we like paused for a good number of months, and now I'm working with somebody else who is much more on the co-founder role, and we just resumed operations, I guess, back in beginning of February. We spent 2 weeks together in person. He was in India for most of COVID, so I just got back to the States. We spent 2 weeks together and completely revamped the entire concept. We went back to the bare bones, redesigned everything. Brand new wireframes, brand new everything. We're working with a designer now to get the concepts for a new landing pages up as well. So everything is changing. And the idea now is that we're not just focusing on startups, we're focusing on startups and other non-traditional opportunities. We're connecting interns with startups, we're connecting interns with creators, we're connecting interns with crypto projects, we're connecting interns with nonprofits, really anything else that is non-traditional, a way to get people out the door and realize that there's more beyond. We are connecting students. We have a pretty great revolutionary personality matching system that we're having as well. So because the idea of matching based off of resume or on grades or what people have done so far, they're students, right? That's not really what founders are looking for. When a founder is looking for an intern, they're looking for, do you have drive? Do you have ambition? Are you willing to get your hands dirty? Like what type, do you have vision, right? And these are the types of things that they care about, not necessarily what they got on their SAT. And so those are kind of what we're using more as matching and as filters in order to be accepted as a Tenderfoot intern in general, to be able to be pushed out to and matched to the startups and other non-traditional organizations within our community. And that's where we're at today.
Amazing. We could talk about this topic in detail as well. I would love to. I want to be respectful of your time, and I, we try to keep these live streams shorter. But as you know, I have interns and I love having them. So this is really fantastic. I want to learn more about it. And how we can get involved with supporting the effort. I added the link in the bio, or added the link into the chat. Does anyone have any questions for Aprilynne? Okay, I mean, I'm waiting for someone to talk, but I got a little thrown off because my dog started barking, and my girlfriend showed up at 15 minutes early with her baby. And they were locked outside of the house. I had to let them in, so I'm a little thrown off here. But so with Tenderfoot, what's the startup like? How can I get into it? What's the criteria for a startup?
There are a couple of criteria that we have off the top of my head. One is there are like kind of like two tracks. One is you must have one other full-time employee. Or if not that, then you must have a certain type of a certain MRR that you're making, or a certain amount of funded dollars into it. Or if not that, then you have to have gone through an accredited accelerator or incubator program.
Nice. So it's not just free labor.
Right. Oh yeah, and all of the internships are paid. All of them, like, must be paid internships. The idea is that the definition of startup is like no one agrees on, and so we want to make sure that the opportunities that we're connecting students with are worth their time. And if a startup is just a person in a bedroom by themselves that they have an idea on, that's not quite the best internship experience for an intern at that time. They need to get a little bit more off the ground in order to be able to provide as much value to the intern as they can. Yeah, so those are the reasons why we have those types of restrictions.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I saw Caleb ask, what carries over in that strategy for other socials? When it comes to the Twitter, honestly, a lot probably. That being said, I don't really know a lot about other social media platforms. I really don't. I have an Instagram. I'm not active on it at all. But I assume the same thing would apply, right? It's like one of the reasons why I'm only growing on Instagram because people find me through YouTube. That's it. If I wanted to organically grow my Instagram, I would be commenting on influencers in my niche, right? And trying to be first so that, again, people see me, people like what I say, people click on my profile picture, they look through my feed, they decide to follow. YouTube is kind of the only thing where I really think it's not worth it to go on other influencers and comment on their videos. Other people, like, I have seen that strategy. I don't think it's worth it. I think it's better just to spend your time really focusing on the quality of your content, because YouTube's algorithm is so good that it will push it out for you. Just focus on search when you are beginning out on YouTube. But a lot of other social media platforms, they don't push it out for you. So that's why YouTube's a little bit different from Instagram and Twitter.
Excellent. And yes, we are going to make this recording available for those of you that want to watch it back, but I hope that we can bring you back, Aprilynne, in the future to talk. I want to talk a little bit about, obviously you're getting out of Web3, but I want to talk a little bit about Web3 with you, go in deeper with Tenderfoot, maybe talk to some of your interns that have had success stories,
of
how
course.
to succeed at an internship. I mean, just topics upon topics are just rolling through my head. It's been really lovely chatting with you.
Yeah, and I will say too, with Web3, it's not like my I guess what's the right word? I guess fatigue with NFTs are NFTs, not Web3. And there's like a distinct difference, right, between what Web3 is versus what the NFT world is like. So happy to talk though about NFTs for a bit, because I do know a decent amount about those.
Yes, I see Caleb is saying that he wants to talk about that too. Maybe a topic for 5 for virtual insanity. Yes, we have a virtual insanity NFT group. Both of the Calebs are shouting each other out there, collaborating. So I'm sure they'll be sliding into your DMs momentarily. Don't be shy. Aprilynne is so sweet, and make sure that you give her a follow here on Entre. Make sure you connect with her on YouTube. Check out Tenderfoot. Follow her on Twitter. I promise you will not regret it. Any last things that we should know?
I guess just like, if you want to follow along, my Twitter is at Aprilynne A. My YouTube is Aprilynne Alter. That's my channel. Those are probably like my Twitter is probably the best place to keep in contact with me. I do look at my DMs. I'm not great at looking at my DMs, but if you want to reach me, that's probably the best way to do so.
Yeah, or you can join Founders Club. That's how I got connected with Aprilynne. We'll drop the link to that as well. Through Founders Club, I got matched with Aprilynne, and it was like a really good day for me.
Wonderful.
So why can't I find that? Indie Worldwide. There we go. Misspelled it. Mo loopy. Check out Indie Worldwide. You join Founders Club, and actually, that's not the domain for it. Why can't I find it? His is indieworldwide.com, right?
Indie Worldwide.
Indie Worldwide.
Got it. I'll put it in chat.
Thank you so much. Perfect.
Yeah, Founders Club is just like Andrew matches Anthony. Sorry, yeah, Anthony matches founders with each other on a weekly basis based on their interests or what they've done or kind of like where they're at, and you get to meet lots of really cool people like Miriam.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much. This has been great. We're going to wrap it up, and hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today, April, and I've learned a lot myself. I'm going to be working on my Twitter bio, fine-tuning that. And yeah, we'll post this recording on YouTube for you to watch it back.
Thanks so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye,
all right, take care.
everybody.
Bye.